Thelma. I mean, the studio is on fire. The studio is on fire. That was beautiful. A wonderful way to start our show this morning. I mean, all our bodies, all the energies, the positive energies are right now in the studio. Today on Weekend Deal, it's all about communal living.
I used to often say that my best friends were guys. 10 of us would just be out on the streets from dawn till dusk, and our parents knew each house to check they were searching for any one of us. Nowadays, what we do find is that modernization and the constant increasing need for privacy has us surrounded and living within the worlds that we have built around ourselves.
Honestly, and if this is left unchecked, in the long run, Thelma, it will lead to isolation, disconnection, and then limiting gainful association and development.
Indeed. We must talk about it. It starts with talking, and research shows that communal living has enormous benefits. For example, we have better connections, safer and fuller lives, and of course, safer environments too.
Absolutely. Yes, so we understand and we do know that there are pros and cons to communal living. People have got their hands burnt and there are so many stories. But a lot of people also agree that at the end of the day, it is worth it.
And we're talking about you. How are you living? We talked about building high walls that have created a gap in communication between and sometimes even within families. But today on Weekend Deal, with your support, we want to talk about it. That's why NT Abuja is exploring what researchers say is a benefit and a plus because it creates safer and fuller lives. NT Abuja, please take it from here.
Neighborhood interaction in traditional African society holds a significant place in the fabric of communal living. With modernization setting in, communal living gradually fades away. Modernization is a double-edged sword, transforming societies across the globe. Physical barriers can create a sense of security, but they also have the potential to isolate residents from one another. The presence of walls or fences can transform a vibrant neighborhood into a collection of individual fortresses. In Nigeria, the interplay of tradition and modern influences creates a unique tapestry of neighborhood interactions. Communal living has a cornerstone of Nigeria's culture, particularly in rural areas. However, Modernization has significantly impacted neighborhood interactions. In many countries, including Nigeria, the security situation has indeed led to a shift in how people live and interact with each other.
It is important in Nigeria today. We have a couple of things to deal with. Number one is the security. The security in Nigeria now, where one need to fence the estate with high wall, you have daily less dealing with the passerby. Then you know that the security measures is limited to people, the occupants of the estate itself. Okay. And number two, it still gives an opportunity to decorate and bring the aesthetic of the estate through the fence wall and all of that. And see, some of the estates to have buildings of 2, 3 suspended floor to make maximum use of the land space. So that is part of the risk. Because the land, purchase of land now is very, very expensive. You have to make good use of the land. And with technology, power supply and all of that, you can easily enjoy high wall rise.
High walls provide a sense of security and protection from potential threats. It also offers a sense of privacy, exclusivity, and promotes physical barriers between the public and private spheres, allowing individuals to maintain personal space. Modernization has become a common sight in Nigeria's estates, with high walls and stringent security measures surrounding residential estates. Not only to create a physical barrier, but also offer a psychological comfort to residents. Some measures help foster a sense of community where neighbors look out for each other. Striking the right balance with your neighbor involves understanding, communication, and respect for boundaries. Whether it's sharing a cup of coffee or having occasional chats, the goal is to foster a relationship that brings joy without compromising your personal space. So how close should you be with your neighbor? Close enough to share laughs, but far enough to respect each other's space. After all, a little balance goes a long way.
Technology has made things very easy. Even if you are in London, you are in America, with internet, you can bring somebody very, very close to you. You can have secret discussions and all of that within one another. Is limited to between you and the service provider. People are conscious of who comes close to you and whatever like that, so that you will be able to secure your space and have limited access to outsiders. So you can bring them closer. If you want to use technology, you can bring them closer. You can have your discussions, and every other official discussions will be done in your offices. And except your family members, close friends that you can vouch for, then you will still have a restriction to where and how close they could be to you in your private space.
Modernization in Nigeria presents both challenges and opportunities for neighborhood interactions. As communities adapt, it is vital to find a balance between embracing change and preserving the rich traditions that binds us together as we navigate the complexities of modern living, understand the effects of physical barriers, build connection, embrace openness. Together, we can create vibrant communities.
It is Weekend Deal, your favorite show on TV. It is time for us to get into the meaty matter. Like Thelma would always say, it is time for the conversation proper to begin, and we have two amazing people in the studio. So let me start by introducing the young. She's my daughter. I practically call her my daughter because her mother is my friend. I'm saying this on national TV, yeah. So I am introducing to you the young Dosu Chisam Ogbona. She is a medical student and a development influencer. Can you beat that? Let's see her profile.
Well, it gives us great pleasure to welcome you to Weekend Deal today as we talk about communal living. Dosu Chisam Ogbonna. Nice to have you with us today. Patience's daughter.
Yes, so my baby.
Okay. We're making friends. It's a friendly place. We have a family member of sorts.
Yes.
In that he's closely attached to a friend of the house, and it gives us great pleasure to welcome as well today Okike Ofia. He is a life and leadership coach. He's attached to one of our attachments, and we'll talk more after we get to see his profile.
Welcome back. Our conversation is about to begin, but before we start our conversation proper, we would go to NTA knowledge. You know how we say that communal living fosters a sense of community. Strong relationships are built by communal living, and then a whole lot happens, social connections and all. Now, what happens when there are high gates and high walls, gated communities like we have them today? What happens to these positive attributes I just mentioned? NTA knowledge will tell us.
The phenomenon of gated estates and high wall fences in Nigeria is largely driven by the desire for security and safety. Many Nigerians seek refuge in gated communities, which are perceived to offer a safer and more secure environment.
Right from the days of our forefathers, Africans live in a communal society where buildings, structures, houses, shelters are fenced. This fencing is important. Gated walls are important. Today we call them estates. It's important because it fosters unity, it fosters love. It's also important to curb crime and criminal activities and any forms of criminality. If you have your building or your structure and you just leave it open, it's prone to attack. Your children, your belongings, your property are prone to attack. Intrusions could happen. Intruders could invade your community, your estate, if you don't have a gated fence. We have criminals everywhere. Then we have influx of people from some parts of the country as a result of climate change, desertation, and drought that move to other societies. So if you allow them to come to your village or to your society, and behold, everywhere is open. It's not fenced, it's not gated. Of course, you're inviting criminals into your domain. And when you have a plot of land, or you have land or an estate, balkanization of that land, which is fencing, is the first thing we use. Even if you go to, where you collect your R04 or CFO, of course, the square meter of your land, of your estate is there, measured. And as soon as it's done, for a crisis not to happen or, argument, rift between you and creating a rancorous situation between you and your neighbors, you have to put your fence. You have to get it gated. When you have a property, the first thing you do is to create a barrier, is to create a fence, is to make it gated. Even if you're not going to park in or build it or live in there or therein, you still have to create a wall in that, on that property to make sure that, yes, this thing belongs to you. We can use that to identify who owns what and who doesn't own what. So we cannot take away or underestimate or overemphasize the essence of fencing or creating the barriers, or walls in our estate. In any society we find ourselves, either old or modern, walls are important.
A home should be a haven, not a worry. Choose the haven.
Very, very interesting. We would say, yes, we raise those walls because we want to curb any negative actions. But are we raising them too high? Physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, and even psychologically? Well, that's the question our guest will be nourishing our discourse with more information today. We've already welcomed them. You didn't get to meet Okike. Well, he's here. And also you saw a beautiful influencer much earlier. So let's set the ball rolling. Okay. Mr. Ofia, are our walls too high in these days? Are they higher than they were in the past?
Thank you very much. Certainly. Certainly. In the past, there were no walls. I didn't grow up in the village, but my parents always took me back to the village. I would go to be with my grandma. Sometimes you go too early before she has made her fire. And she'll give you a wooden board to go to the neighbors to get live coals.
Yeah.
So she could start her fire.
Beautiful.
When you go to that neighbor, you don't come back just with live coal. You probably will come back with a bowl of soup or corn or whatever she has made for you to start while grandma makes her fire. But these days, if I knock on your door, I probably will need SSS clearance to gain access. And even when I gain access, and I tell you I have a flat tire, I want to borrow your jack, it would look as if I'm asking for your NIN number.
We didn't just laugh.
Interesting. That's beautiful. That's the truth. Yeah.
So that's the situation we are in. I once lived in a block of 9 flats. I was working with young people in a university campus, 17 kilometers away. One day it dawned on me that I knew more students 17 kilometers away than I knew my neighbors. I didn't know my neighbors on the same block of flats.
Interesting. You know, I was painting that picture of our African communal living. I mean, nostalgic feelings. It brought a whole lot of memories.
Indeed. I was able to picture what you were saying. And you know what
yes.
struck me, Patience, and also Mr. Afia, is the fact that without your grandmother did not even have to go physically.
No.
The fact that you came meant she has not yet cooked. And her hospitable nature, that's her neighbor now, knows that let me set the ball rolling with my token. That means your grandmother too has done it for the neighbor in the past.
You know, I read somewhere and said the African sense of communal living is strong. It goes deeply to the root. That's who we are as Africans, you know. In those days, let me tell you a story. If your friend's mother on the same line catches you doing wrong thing, they will beat you, bah? Your mom will join and beat you. It's like once your neighbor declares you guilty, you are guilty. What you did is done. So now you are a young person growing up. Yes. What does communal living mean to you?
Firstly, communal living to me would be more about interdependence and fostering relationships. Okay. I feel like the backbone of communal living is relationship. If his grandmother did not have a relationship with the neighbor, there would be no place, no avenue for that coal to reach their house. Do you understand? And there would be no bowl of soup. Do you understand? So fostering quality relationship is the backbone of communal living. Okay. And I feel like in this day and age, there's not enough avenue for young people to actually interact physically. Everything is online. Everything is social media. We are missing that fundamental physical interaction that is the baseline of human nature. Okay. Yeah.
So there's a point you made about communal living being at the roots of who we are.
Yes.
It's part of our identity.
Yes.
Talking about identity. That's one key ingredient in nation nurturing our oneness, the ties that hold us together.
The ties that bind.
Right. Yeah. We're talking about the impact of modernization. Modernization is simply acquiring new ways of living. It could be ideologies, it could be technology. She's alluded to technology.
Yeah.
And one of the things that it's breaking down is the thing that puts us together.
True.
I was talking to a group of young people. I was making a presentation of my book, and I began to talk about networking, the value of networking in the workplace, in the community. And this young girl looked at me and said, "Excuse me, sir, my network is online. When I want to cry, I simply go online and share, what do you call that?
DMs.
No, just share a crying face.
Emoji. And then you cried.
Just share that, and all the people online will cry with her. Yeah. So that's where we are. Yes, so those things that hold us together, they've broken.
They are eroding.
That's one. The other thing is that the Toyin was giving a background, and he talked a lot about insecurity. Well, in the process of modernization, we have adopted philosophies and ways that promote self, that increase the social disparity, the economic disparity in society, and what that produces is insecurity.
Scaling the walls, not physically, but socially. Yeah, the walls might still exist, but you can scale these walls socially. Reaching out to your neighbors, I think that is amazing and beautiful. And very modern, if you ask me. Come out and have some breakfast with me. That's very modern. We should all adopt that. Now, as a young person, how do you get your own sense of communal living? Because these days, our mothers, I know my friend, I'm like that too. We hide our kids. We protect our children.
Yeah.
In those days, we played outside. I can't remember my children. What are you doing outside? The only person that plays with my children is Elizabeth Agbai. Because she's my neighbor, she calls my children her classmates. So Elizabeth will play with them. Apart from her, nobody plays with my kids. I can't even, I'm afraid. So as a young person, how do you feel that we are caging you people the way we are? I am guilty too. I am guilty. Yeah. So how do you feel?
So firstly, as a young person in this day and age, you know, we don't necessarily have the resources yet to go door to door, like he has said, or to like conduct breakfast or, you know, interact in that way. But one of the ways that we can actually bridge this gap is through clubs, societies, through ways that we can connect physically. So as a young person like myself who has started a network for young girls, the main objective for me was so that we can come into a place, have critical conversations and build relationships. You know, as a young person, everything is online, everything is social. It's easy to digest anything you see online. But you see these critical relationships where we are integrated, where we have space and time to actually talk about the deep things. Those are the necessary conversations. An incident happened in my estate. There was a fire. And, you know, the family could not escape from their apartment because they live in a story building. So they could not escape. So it was very difficult and it was very frantic and everything. At the end of the day, the people who came to their rescue were not people online. Wow. They were the neighbors. Do you understand? People who came with their buckets, with Omo, with fire extinguishers. Those are the physical relationships that we need to be building. You know, so as a young person today, I see that gap. And the way to bridge that gap is through clubs, societies, more going out, interacting with nature and with each other. Okay. So to me, that is it.
You know, that's heartwarming.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Well, you know, I like what you're saying. And I hope that as the young ladies meet, you know, your friendships, you know, it can also connect your parents.
Yes.
Because your parents want to know who you are spending time with. And it will also help us.
And it helps
we cannot
also
breach
that these are quality relationships. These are not relationships that will lead you astray. No. These are not relationships that will lead you into trouble. These are relationships that will increase your social network and give you more opportunities, you know? As youth, it is important that we organize such events so we can connect fundamentally for the future.
Good one.
Yeah.
And good a thing you are leaders of tomorrow.
Yes,
so it's a good one.
Yes.
Not all meetings are positive in nature, but it's great to know that's where the parents too have done the fundamental work.
Yeah.
They've put some values in you that makes you know the kind of people. You didn't just go and invite everybody you saw on the streets. You know the kind of people you have moved with from time, and you know where both of you can, all of you can galvanize and enrich each other's lives. Well, I'm learning. You know, life is always a learning curve. We can't say we know everything.
No,
not at all. Well, I'm told to go to Uyo. Uyo is itching to come on board. They are so excited by what we've been learning today on Weekend Deal, talking about communal living. And that's why they want to emphasize and reiterate the need to know your neighbor. Do you know your neighbor? And Uyo, please show us how.
A neighbor is generally someone who lives nearby, often in the same street or neighborhood, and could be someone we interact with regularly.
My neighbor is someone who I can reach out to when I'm in need, my go-to person, someone I can confide in whenever I have issues, someone who can be there for me in my good times, someone who can be there for me in my bad times.
The person that sits next to you in your place of work is your neighbor. While you're going home, you enter a cab, The person you sit next to in the cab is your neighbor. While we're in church, the person that sits next to your left and to your right is your neighbor. Everybody you come in contact with on a daily basis, they are your neighbors.
My neighbor is the next person close to me.
We tend to share our joys and sorrows if we have a good bonding with our neighbors, and they are the first point of contact in case of an emergency. But how well do you know your neighbor?
Who he is, where he is from, what he does, and of course the things he is capable of doing. Those are the things that should form the basics as to how much I should know my neighbor.
On a shallow basis, not really that deep, but the love is there, the kindness is there, the unity is there, but I don't dig into their personal lives.
Knowing your neighbor offers numerous benefits, including enhanced safety, a stronger sense of community, practical support, easy access to information, and even improved mental and physical well-being.
Something happened one night. We were fast asleep. I think somewhere around 1 a.m. We heard my neighbor was groaning, and his groan became too loud that it drew the attention of other neighbors, myself inclusive. We went out and found out he had, I think, either appendicitis or hernia, and it was hurting him so badly that we had to rush him to the hospital. But for the timely intervention of myself and the other neighbors, we would have lost that young man. But
there was this particular day that I think 3 to 4 kids were there, and they stayed till up to like 6 p.m. and nobody, their parents didn't come to pick them. There was this lady that stays close by. They had to pick, that took the children in and had to buy snacks for the children to eat because they were very hungry and they were very tired.
My neighbor has a pregnant wife who was, really heavy and about to put to bed, but due to the nature of his job, he had to, stay off the family. So since I was around and I had to make myself available, to, assist the wife and then take her to the hospital, make sure that I met all the things that they require for the delivery available for her.
Though residents of local communities seem to know more about their neighbors than those living in city centers, experts are of the view that it is important to know our neighbors for security reasons. It costs nothing to know your neighbors. Paying attention to what happens around your neighborhood might just be the turning point or the breakthrough you need to excel. Be vigilant.
so still. They're showing you. Move small.
Amazing. Well done. Okay,
Wow.
it is saying that alone we can do little, but together we can do more. That just fosters all the conversations we've been having today. A sense of community, a sense of good relationship and good social connections. Okay, joining the conversation now is someone who is no stranger to communal living. She is Auta Teni Kumser. Oh yes, we're going to be taking our profile after this. Let me just do the introductions. Auta Teni Kumser Nanchin. She is a business development expert of Management House Africa. Let's see her profile.
Welcome to Weekend Deal. And when the producer was introducing her, she said her name from the acronym is NTA. So NTA, welcome to NTA.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure being here.
Nice to have you. Okay, we've been hearing his we've been hearing the sound of his instrument. We've been hearing their talent.
Been dancing.
We have been energized by their skill. Let's raise it. Let's take it a notch higher by formally introducing to you Kenneth, the saxophonist. On point. The game is on. His profile is next.
And then Ken is not alone. On the drum is Okpeyemi. Just wave. Okpeyemi works Nigerians, yes. And then we have on the guitar is Bukata. I like that name. Bukata. You guys are welcome to Weekend Deal. Okay. All right. I don't know. Your NTA. Nanchin. NTA. Oh God, I feel nice calling you NTA. We're talking about communal living. Yeah, what as a business expert, how important is communal living to what you do as a business expert?
Okay, good morning everyone, and thank you again for bringing me in here. You know, what I do at my job has to do with people. Without people, you cannot develop your business. You cannot even grow your business. Talk more of developing it. Now, when you have people around you, it aids you to go a step further to whatever it is that you're doing. Now, bringing it back to communal living, how we live together, how we work together. I heard someone saying your colleague at work is your neighbor.
Yes.
When you enter a bus or a taxi, the person who you are with in there is your neighbor. Now, these are the ways I can develop my business. If I go in a bus with you or in a car with you, I try as much as, what is your name? What do you do for a living? And then I introduce myself and I introduce my business and what I do at my job. So if I don't talk to you, how can I develop my business? So it begins first of all with communication, talking to the next person close to you.
Some people find it challenging let me put in quotes, to come to the level of the common man. You know, they're like, after all my hustle to get this, I know where I am in society. This is not, even sometimes you move to an estate, people like, they wonder, how did people go as far as asking, this one does not even fit in now. How did they even get it? How did they? No. They start wondering, this is not our clique. People see success in terms of only the amount of money in their bank accounts. And so all what we are saying is like, yes, been there, done that. Perhaps when they lowered themselves as big as they were to the level of the common man, they were beaten. There was poison because some people do not have the manners or charisma or as value-oriented as they are. They have been scorched. So they don't intend to ever look back or look down, to lift anybody or to accommodate anybody that is not in their pedigree. You know, that is also one major reason. We have new money, we have new success, we have old money, we have those that have been building the high walls intentionally. It is to keep people out. Is there hope that one day, all of us, we have that breakfast? And then tell me how your breakfast even panned out. You invited people. How many have invited you?
Okay. Thank you very much. Chisom has made some very significant points. She said you can't beat community.
Honestly.
We are not meant to live in isolation. Right. About my breakfast, well, I'll tell you something. I have a neighbor, I just call him Alhaji B. Let me just not mention his name. We have this high wall that separates our compound. But one day Alhaji calls me and said, hey, there's a car that's been parked in front of your house. He was seeing it on his CCTV. Check out that car. And we did.
Wow.
You know, across his high wall. I have 2 adult children and a 9-year-old, so I still do school runs. But I only do school runs. We pull cars with a neighbor whose children are in the same school with mine. We pull cars.
Nice, yeah.
Okay. Not too long ago, I had an incident at the police station. I called my wife, called my immediate neighbor, called the chairman of our neighborhood association. He was the first person that arrived there, the chairman of my neighborhood association. So there's great benefit.
Too many benefits.
There's great benefit. I tell you, no, let me use an extreme example.
Can I just go back a bit? How come you didn't see the car in front of your house?
Well, because we were all inside, and his CCTV,
yes, could pick it from outside.
Yeah, could pick it from outside. So, and it was very suspicious, right? There are societies. In fact, I have colleagues who are Swedish. Once we were talking this way, and they were trying to tell me about the challenges in their society. And they told me the story of a man who died in his apartment and was discovered 12 months after in a block of apartments.
Lord have mercy.
Nobody knew. Nobody ever knocked on his door. Nobody checked to greet him. And he died and was only discovered 12 months after. That's the price you pay for being isolated.
Isolated, yeah.
That's an extreme price. But you
You
see,
could have even been ill, maybe even a heart attack,
Oh,
and
yeah.
needed help.
oh yeah. But you see, people are also getting more depressed. The incidence of emotional trauma and psychological diseases are on the rise because nobody says hello, how are you?
Hello. Hi.
That's the price we pay. So when you look at the cost, you make your choice. I have chosen to be a community person.
Indeed.
And I'll keep connecting. By the way, every Muslim celebration, Alhaji sends over something. All right?
Even if it's not a kara, what do you call it? A grasshopper.
Right.
So send other things.
I mean, so just the sense of community is growing. Now,
yes.
there are people who don't care, who don't bother,
Yes.
who don't appreciate it. Oh, well, that's their choice.
Well, hopefully they'll get fewer and fewer.
We keep saying that
nice one.
isolation is a serious
Nice
thing,
one.
and we
It
don't
is.
know. I mean, the consequences are there. There's depression. I mean, somebody passing on for that long and nobody knowing.
knows.
So we must continue to foster a sense of community and reach out to our neighbors, because no matter how high and mighty you are, when there's a call for help, it's your neighbor that will rush there, not your pedigree person that is in Betama in somewhere. It's your neighbor that will reach out. So we must, even as much as we need to be careful, but we must foster a sense of community. It is time for our next break. The conversation is still hot and fresh. Please don't go away.
Your books, you need to bring them out. You know, and this is one way to enjoy communal living. The idea of this conversation is to change the narrative as best as we can. So we love the girl because she was coming from an angle that we hardly hear youth talk about this. So we're inspired. How is it going to impact you to the extent that you change the narrative? We want the narrative to change, but we are asking us to strike a balance. And we talked about wisdom and discernment. NTA in NTA.
Tell us.
Okay, let me come to you. And maybe not all about business now, because you are first a human being, then a Nigerian, then someone that grew up here before you became a business or an entrepreneur. So let's gravitate from there. Some of our messages touched on from where we have come. Some bad values and some negatives tried, they didn't succeed though, to erode the beautiful background and ancestry that Mr. Okiki explained, when he came on the show earlier. Our grandmothers going to light fire, coming with a bowl of food so early in the day. People giving from the heart. In these days, it is not as it was. But we've talked about combining where we are with what we had so we can push forward in the most positive way. What ought we to equip ourselves with so that we can do it with a large level of success in terms of ability to discern and applying wisdom?
Okay, thank you so much again. I would first of all say that you need to look out for yourself. Look out for yourself. As much as you have family, you have friends, you have colleagues who like you, who want you, look out for yourself, first of all. And I always say, no lose guard for anybody.
I like that.
No lose guard for anybody, whoever they are, wherever they are coming from. Strike a balance. Just we were talking before when we went on break that sometimes these miscreants that we see on the road or on the way, they are very important. Because we talked about you when your car gets bad on the road. That is when you know that they are important. You can't bring them into your house for breakfast. But on your way to work, on your way back from work, you can give them 10 naira for water. You can buy lunch for them and just give them. You can pay their tea fare. You can just tip them, not necessarily bringing them into your home. That is where you strike the balance. That is where you're not loose guarding for anybody. Even if you invite me to your house now, I come into your house, I can only sit in the living room. There are levels of relationship. So you have to follow that pattern or follow that process. You don't just bring in somebody to your house and then boom, to your bedroom or boom, to your kitchen.
Absolutely.
Discernment,
Irrespective
wisdom.
of who they are.
Irrespective of who they are. We have seen housemaids poisoning people, killing people. Recently, I was talking with a friend and then he was sharing with me how a reverend father was murdered, I think, in Kaduna State. And by the time that story was traced, it was gotten that the boy had lived with that reverend father, knows his in and out and everything. And before you know, he brought in people that poisoned the man or did whatever. The man is no more. We can only talk stories. Don't lose guard for anybody, whoever they are. Don't lose guard for anybody. You can be intentionally nice, you can be caring, you can be whatever, but don't lose guard.
Don't lose
for
guard.
anybody.
It's just
Wisdom, the Bible says, is profitable to direct.
Amazing. Amazing. I think striking the balance, whether we like it or not, the society has evolved. Those days where we used to play on the street from morning till evening and eat anyhow is gone. Unfortunately, it is gone. There's nothing we can do about it. But like my baby here said, Chisom said, we can still foster a sense of community through different ways.
And on a sad note, my friend here, Mr. Ayofred, reminded us earlier about the demise of one of Nigeria's finest in terms of coaching football. Yesterday, Nigeria lost an icon, a football giant, in the person of Christian Chukwu. He passed on at 74, and he leaves behind a nation who admired him and held him in very high esteem. We pray God to grant his family and indeed all Nigerians the fortitude to bear the irreplaceable loss. And of course, it's because he lived communally. That's why he's so loved and revered. So it further drives home our point today about how we need to strike a balance and up our game when necessary. Let me go to NTA in NTA.
Thank you.
It's been great listening to you. You're calm, your demure self. We're wrapping up our conversations. What are your final words? Share with Nigeria, the continent, and indeed the world.
Thank you again. My final words will be that we can still have communal living peacefully. I remember growing up in Sokoto State. While growing up, I think I was about 10 then, my mom carried me or took me to the Sokoto Central Market. She showed me, this is my customer if you want to buy oil. This is my customer if you want to buy Maggi. This is my customer if you want to buy tomatoes. She took me around Sokoto Market. And for me, that was the beginning of a kind of a new phase in my life. I was just 10, I remember vividly. And from that day, my mom never went to the market herself.
Really?
Yes. From Arkilla, if you know Sokoto very well, those of you listening to me, from Arkilla, I would go to Nasarawa, I'll trek to Nasarawa, take the bus, I think it was about 20 naira or 50 naira then, go to the market with my small basket, go around all of these customers my mother had showed me, buy my things, and you know, the small me will go take the bus and get home safe and sound. Nobody kidnapped me, nobody was looking for me, because we were living peacefully. We may not go back to that place, but you know, it's a process when if you are intentional about it. And I pray and hope that in our country, things will get better.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, NTA.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Darling daughter of Patience and her biological mother. Our sweet angel. Please add your voice as we wrap up our conversation.
All right. My final word of encouragement would be, as a young person, never lose hope. Understand that you have a community. No one is an island. You know, everyone can come into a community and thrive as long as you have the right intentions. And that is exactly what the network that I founded does, Christian Girls Circle. The whole point is to bring together like-minded girls so that they can build valuable relationships. So as a young person, I want to encourage you today. I want you to take up hope that you are not alone. If you feel isolated, depressed, if you feel like no one cares, there is a community for you somewhere. Take that leap of faith. Yeah, that's my charge to you.
Chisom, thank you so much. Even we adults, we need a community like this. Where we can come and nestle and talk and share. Wow.
Yes.
You've inspired us. So, Patience, I better start the community. Now, Mr. Okeke wraps up.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, my last message is this. Live in community, but choose your friends wisely. You can live behind those high walls, but keep your heart open to people.
There were some books here, weren't there?
Grow your network.
Yes, great.
Yeah, and that brings me to the subject of this book. I published this book just when I turned 60 on my 60th birthday. Dream, aspire, and achieve beyond limits. It's simply saying there are no barriers too high to cross. There are no obstacles that you cannot surmount to accomplish your dreams. Now, one of the sections talks about networking. He talked about networking, growing your networks, the value of networks. And that's so crucial, both in your personal development journey and your life in community. You know, so live in community, right? Live in community, choose your friends wisely. You live behind those high walls, but keep an open heart so that you can network with people.
Amazing, amazing. I can't say it more again. They say the value of a community, if you're going to measure the value of the community, is accurately measured by the compassion of the people living in that community. That means that you might live in your high walls, but how compassionate are you towards your community? We must show compassion in different ways, you know. So we must contribute to our communities. Somebody says, good morning, NTA, you're doing a great job, always educating us every weekend. I love today's discussion, especially the words spoken by your guests and the words of NTA in NTACs.
Thank you. Because she took us home to, you know, to her young age. At 10, how she was doing her shopping and all, because your mom made the journey easy or made it easier for you.
For me.
I'm sure at first you experienced a little bit of confusion, but within a short while you were fine. Okay. There were some
questions.
Some viewer asked. One viewer asked questions.
Okay.
He talked
well,
about
the first
what is
question would be for
doing.
the federal government, and he says, what is the federal government doing on curtailing the killings and things happening in Nigeria? You know, and the second one said, is it necessary to get involved with others physically? You know, Okay, and so many questions, but some of the questions actually they are powered questions.
I like to talk about connecting with your neighbors physically.
Neighbors
Okay,
physically.
okay.
Remember the story she told?
Yes.
There was a fire in her estate.
Yes.
The virtual community couldn't come to the rescue.
Absolutely.
It was the physical neighbors
That
were there.
Yes. So you need to connect with
Yes.
people.
You need to
physically.
connect with people. Yeah.
There is something a touch does.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this story. If you've ever been to a motherless baby's home, there's this particular one. They found that the kids who were by the door were more vibrant. You know, they were more joyful than the ones that were deep in. Yeah. And as they began to observe them, they just found that when people are passing, they are touching those kids. There is something about the
Physical
touch.
the hug, you know, from a close friend. There is something that it does to a person's life. So yes, we need to connect physically. That's why I said, live in community, but choose your friends wisely.
I'd like to add to that, sorry, briefly. I think at the end of the day, every man is a common man. Every man is a common man. No matter your social background, no matter your pedigree, everyone is a common man. At the end of the day, on your deathbed, at the beginning of life, every man is the same.
Let's get the music going. Let's dance away our.
I'm donating this copy for a library.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate you. Oh yeah, Kenny Sax.
Is it the dancing time?